Welcome back! So, today I'm going to make you watch my top best movies with sharks. The scariest ones with sharks. Then I'm going to make you watch the most disturbing, bloody, horrific deaths in shark movies. And then I'm going to make you watch in the end of this documentary the top chart. This is the period because of course we are on July 2026. This is the period of holidays, of people going to the sea, to the oceans, the time to swim in open waters. But there are places in which you must be very careful because to be eaten by a shark, it's not very good. Warning! Some images could disturb the sensitivity of the viewers. This is my top chart. The top 17 of the best and scariest shark movies according to me. Number 17, Shark Night 3D. Released in 2011 with protagonist Sarah Paxton.
Shark Night 3D 2011. The final film David R. Ellis completed before his death, and not the one to use to introduce someone to his work. Snakes on a Plane serves that purpose more effectively, but a film that executes its modest ambitions with the professional competence the genre requires. A group of college students at a Louisiana lake house discover that the surrounding saltwater lake has been deliberately stocked with multiple shark species, and the film proceeds from that revelation with the brisk efficiency of a director who knows his audience and has no interest in wasting their time. Clarity that many far more expensive productions fail to achieve, and the third act turn, that the sharks were introduced intentionally, is a stronger premise than the film fully realizes. Its primary weakness is structural. A PG-13 rating prevents the film from committing to the consequences that would give the horror genuine weight, and the characters are differentiated just enough to provide a counting mechanism for the audience, rather than people worth mourning. But Shark Night 3D is a solidly built example of disreputable genre filmmaking doing precisely what its audience arrived to see.
My number 16 goes to Sharknado, released in 2013 with protagonist the famous Jan Ziering.
Sharknado 2013. There's only one entry on this list that earned its place not by being good, but by
Jan Ziering.
Sharks inside tornadoes over Los Angeles. And the film accepts this premise with the same unblinking sincerity a more serious filmmaker might bring to a study of grief. Tara Reid and Ian Ziering play two people who appear neither surprised nor particularly troubled by what is happening, which is the correct response. Sharknado is a sci-fi channel production made for under $2 million that became a genuine cultural phenomenon. Not despite its absurdity, but because of it. Because there is a specific joy in watching a film that has decided it has nothing to lose and behaves accordingly. We would not ordinarily include a film rated 3.3 on IMDb on a best of list, but Sharknado is not competing in that category. It is competing in its own category, which is the category of films that make you immediately want to tell someone else about them. In our view, that is a form of success that this list would be poorer for ignoring.
My number 15 goes to Tide, released in 2012. According to me, this movie can be on the chart only for the magnificent Halle Berry, because the plot doesn't convince me at all. No, some choices in the plot. Halle Berry is gorgeous, absolutely magnificent. If there wasn't Halle Berry, I think that it would have been a failure. So, number 15, Dark Tide.
Ooh,
Dark Tide,
wow.
2012. John Stockwell has spent more of his career making films in or near the ocean than almost any other working director.
Surprised
Blue
to
Crush,
see this.
Into the Blue, and Dark Tide form an informal marine trilogy, and that accumulated experience with open water photography gives the film a visual quality that its screenplay does not always deserve. Halle Berry plays Kate Matheson, a shark conservationist and freediver who retreats from open water diving after a colleague is killed, and who is drawn back into South African waters by financial pressure and a client who wants the closest possible encounter with great whites. The film's central sequence, a free dive without a cage, unprotected with real great white sharks, was filmed with actual animals using techniques developed with genuine shark conservationists.
Dark Tide.
Dark Tide's weaknesses are primarily narrative. The human
Yeah.
conflict between Barry and Olivier Martinez is more melodramatic than compelling, and the film's tonal inconsistency reflects the difficulty of combining a documentary-grade environmental sensibility with conventional thriller mechanics. The real sharks are more interesting than the fictional drama surrounding them, which
True.
is a problem the film never fully resolves.
Number 14, Bait, released in 2012. You must know that this movie is well known as also Shark 3D. The plot was good, but then there is something that didn't convince me very much.
Posits great white
Tsunami.
sharks inside a flooded supermarket, and the survivors, strangers with enough interpersonal history between them to generate conflict without much additional establishment, must find a way out without entering the water. Rendell, a veteran of Australian commercial film production, understands that the supermarket setting is both the film's greatest asset and its most demanding constraint. The geography must be established clearly enough that the tension makes sense, and the sharks must remain credible within an environment that is, by any rational assessment, impossible. The film navigates those demands with more craft than the premise suggests. Xavier Samuel leads the cast with the physical commitment the role requires, and the film's best sequences, the car park flooding particularly, demonstrate a director who knows how to stage action within a limited space. Bait's weaknesses are those of a high-concept genre film whose execution cannot always sustain the ambition of its setup, and certain sequences strain both the budget and the logic.
Number 13, 12 Days of Terror. This movie was inspired by a real tragedy. The shark attacks happened in New Jersey in 1916. This film was released in 2004. It's a good movie, not a masterpiece.
12 Days of Terror, 2004. The dramatization of the 1916 New Jersey shark attacks, the real-world series of killings that
Watch.
provided much of the historical foundation for Jaws. 4 people were killed and 1 seriously injured across 12 days of attacks along the Jersey shore, and the incident produced the first sustained public awareness of sharks as a danger to swimmers in American coastal waters. Shoulder's television film approaches the material as a procedural, following the response of local authorities, the medical community, and the press to something that no existing framework could adequately explain. And that register gives the film a grounded quality that distinguishes it from more straightforwardly commercial shark productions. Colin Salmon leads the cast with the measured authority the role demands, and the period recreation, New Jersey in 1916, the texture of a summer resort community confronting something unprecedented, is handled with more care than the television movie budget might suggest.
Number 12 goes to The Meg 2, The Trench, released in 2023, with protagonist the mythical actor Jason Statham.
Meg 2, The Trench, 2023. The second to political assassination, to direct a Jason Statham creature feature sequel, and the results are as distinctive as that combination of elements suggests. Where The Meg was content to be a cheerfully oversized shark movie, Meg 2 treats the megalodon as one element in a broader action spectacle that includes underwater corporate villains, multiple apex predator species, and a final act set on a resort beach that commits to its own chaos, with the conviction of a film that has stopped worrying about plausibility and decided to maximize scale. Statham anchors the film with his characteristic physical authority, and Wheatley's direction, particularly in the deep sea sequences, has a spatial clarity and tonal confidence that distinguish it from most franchise sequels. Its weaknesses are those of a production whose ambitions occasionally exceed its coherence. The plotting of the middle act is more complicated than it needs to be.
Number 11 goes to Shark Attack 3 Megalodon, released in 2002.
Two Shark Attack movies feature mutated modern-day sharks, but in this one, things got prehistoric. After a giant tooth is discovered, a scientific researcher realizes that megalodons still exist. Moreover, even though they've never bothered anyone before, humanity is in grave danger now.
Megalodon, ancestor of the great white shark. It's supposed to be extinct.
Sure enough, it's because some workers laying an undersea cable got attacked by the huge shark that the tooth is found in the first place. And as the movie continues, so too do the megalodon killings. But who can get mad at this adorably ridiculous CGI shark with its huge round eyes? Also, some of these folks are clearly asking to be eaten.
And now we are in top 10. Number 10 goes to Deep Blue Sea 2, released in 2018. And even if the first one, Deep Blue Sea, released in 1999, was almost a masterpiece, this is a very good sequel. Watch.
Yes. Come on. Yeah. Shucks and kicks my ass. Davis, honey. Come on, come on, come on.
Number 9, Five-Headed Shark. Attack, released in 2017. Of course, I watched all the movies of the saga, but this fifth chapter has something different. Not because of the five-headed, but because there is a suspense. Of course, I watch it in uncut version, and there is also a suspense difficult to find in years like 2017. So, number 9, Five-Headed Shark Attack!
Look, over there. Is that a shark?
Just be careful.
I always am.
Oh, no, this is a very rare sighting. We never get.
Coming! It's coming! You are watching also Good Meals for the Sharks.
Oh, there it is, there it is. It just took it. Oh, crap.
Number 8, absolutely unlosable. Blue Water, White Death, released in 1971. It's a docu-film.
And James Lipscomb. Blue Water, White Death, 1971. The documentary that made Jaws possible. A film that Steven Spielberg studied closely before production began, and that established the visual grammar of the great white shark as a...
Yeah, I think if
Really, when I watched this docu-film, it was really difficult. immediately to fall asleep.
4 years before the film that would make that subject famous. Gimbel and Lipscomb's expedition to film great white sharks in their natural habitat produced footage that no one had captured before. Close encounters with unbaited sharks in open water, the first sustained sequences of a great white in motion, the specific way the animal moves before an attack, and the film's central sequence, in which the crew descends in underfloored shark cages with nothing separating them from the water, is among the most genuinely terrifying footage in documentary cinema. Its weaknesses are those of the form. 1971 documentary conventions can feel dated to modern audiences, more accustomed to contemporary production styles, and the expedition framing is more interesting as context than as sustained narrative.
Number 7, The Shallows, released in 2016. It's also known as Paradise Beach. And I really can tell you that it's a very, very beautiful movie. And above all, Blake Lively is wonderful. She's really amazing.
The most formally accomplished shark survival film since Jaws. A film that takes a single location, a single performer, and a time constraint, and derives from those three elements a piece of spatial and dramatic filmmaking that the genre had not seen since the early 80s. Blake Lively plays Nancy, a medical student surfing alone at a remote Mexican beach who is attacked by a great white and finds herself stranded on a rock 200 meters from shore with the shark still between her and the beach. Cole Serra, a director whose genre work has consistently demonstrated more formal ambition than the action thriller category usually produces, treats the geography of the bay with a precision that functions as the film's primary dramatic engine. The distance to shore, the depth of the water, the timing of the tides, the structural integrity of the rock are all established with the care of a filmmaker who understands that survival cinema is an architectural problem. Lively carries the film entirely, and does so with a physical and emotional commitment the role demands, and she delivers without apparent effort. The shark's behavior is implausible by any biological standard, and the film does not care, which is the correct position. Its weaknesses are minor. A prologue that establishes character motivation more efficiently than elegantly, and a climax that tips slightly into the bombastic. But The Shallows is a very good film made by a director at the height of his genre intelligence. In our
From Colette Serra, this movie is a gripping story of survival and strictly not a creature movie, according to the director himself. It stars Blake Lively as Nancy, a medical student who goes to a secluded beach to get away from things after her mother passes away. What starts as a peaceful trip quickly turns into a terrifying fight for her life. Nancy is attacked by a great white shark and ends up stranded on a rock just 200 yards from the shore. She's injured and completely alone, with only a seagull for company. The tide is rising, and the shark is still circling, smelling blood in the water. Nancy has to use all of her grit and determination to outwit the shark and find a way back to safety. It's a truly terrifying situation, and Blake Lively's performance is incredibly appealing, showcasing her fear and pain, especially in close-up shots. Director Jean-Colette Serra is really skillful at adding a layer of thrill to movies, and he outdid himself with The Shallows. He knew it would be a challenge to make the film scary without knowing exactly how the shark would look on screen or without his preferred practical effects. But then, he ensured the CGI design of the shark was backed by deep research, which apparently took thousands of hours. And the film truly builds tension by making you feel the isolation and danger that Nancy faces. Her only solace from the isolation was a seagull, whose real name was Sully, but was hilariously referred to as Steven Seagull by Nancy, a name suggested by Blake Lively herself. The Shallows, which was initially going to be titled In the Deep, is a great example of a single-location thriller where most of the action happens in one small area. Even though Nancy isn't far from the beach, the shark makes getting back seem impossible. The movie's gorgeous cinematography highlights the ocean's beauty, but it also starkly displays how quickly paradise can turn into a deadly trap. Inspired by her husband Ryan Reynolds' performance in Buried, where he himself was trapped in a coffin for the entire movie, Blake Lively wanted to take on a challenge that would similarly test her acting skills. The result is this, a powerful film that isn't based on a true story but feels incredibly real. The critics loved it, especially for its stunning visuals and Lively's strong performance in portraying Nancy's journey from being sad and grieving to becoming a determined survivor. 40
Number 6 goes to a very good film. This movie has been highly underrated, excuse me. I'm talking about Frenzy, released in 2018. Really a great movie. Number 6 goes to Frenzy. Watch. And now we are in the top 5. I explain you my decision. Number 5 goes to Jaws 3D, and I explain you the reason why. This movie has so many deleted scenes that if you want to watch all the deleted scenes and all the curiosities about Jaws 3D, I suggest you my documentary, always here on my YouTube channel, I did about 2-3 years ago. And now I tell you that this movie has a great cast, like the protagonist, Dennis Quaid, Louis Gossett Jr., Bess Armstrong, Leah Thompson, and this is my favorite horror scene. So let's watch number 5, Jaws 3D. Number 4, and now I explain you my decision. Number 4 goes to Jaws, The Revenge, released in 1987. You must know that there are 2 alternate endings, but the true ending as is what they reshot. In the first version, the character of Jake, played by the ensign Mario Van Peebles, died. And I agree with the audience who immediately sabotage the movie, because when there had been the premiere and the first release at the cinemas, the audience sabotaged the movie. So there had been an urgency, and they reshot the ending of the movie. And the real end is that Jake survives. And so the movie is really good. A very great cast. We Find Lorraine Gary again, Michael Caine, Lance Guest, Mario Van Peebles, and so this is my number 4.
Jaws: The Revenge. The iconic original Jaws film didn't need a sequel, let alone 3 sequels. But sadly, successful films often inspire terrible subsequent installments.
It's not so. I don't agree with it.
Jaws 3D, for
Because
example, was a lackluster attempt to impress the audience with 3D effects and not much else.
Jaws the Revenge was bad if Jake
Revenge
died.
is determined to hunt down and kill the surviving members of the Brody family. Yeah, really. It chases them from New England's fictional Amity
It was
Island
an
to the
injustice
And in the
if
revised
Jake
ending of the film released on
died.
DVD, someone the shark attacks gets spit out because the shark somehow knew he wasn't a relative. Oh, and the shark definitely roars. Yet, even with this crazy plot, the movie is less entertaining and more of a wet flop all around.
You're gonna do something stupid like dying, are you? Oh, man. I'm way too mean for that.
And now we are in the top 3. Number 3, according to me, Jaws 2, released in 1978. Number 3.
Jaws 2, 1978. I can already sense some of you reaching for the comments section. And look, I completely understand the impulse. Placing Jaws 2 ahead of its legendary predecessor in a ranking like this is a choice that demands explanation. So, let me explain. Directed by Janot Schwark and released in 1978, Jaws 2 is not the better film. I want to be absolutely clear about that because intellectual honesty matters, and also because if I claimed Jaws 2 was better than Jaws, I would deserve everything I got in the comments. It is a sequel. It cannot replicate the shock, the novelty, or the cultural earthquake of what came before it. It does not really try to. What it does instead is something slightly different, and, in its own way, remarkably effective as a pure horror experience. Where the original keeps its shark largely hidden, weaponizing suggestion and implication with almost mathematical precision, Jaws 2 puts its shark front and center, with considerably more frequency and considerably more aggression. This shark is bigger, angrier, more destructive, less patient. The scene involving a water skier, which arrives early in the film and is significantly more graphic and upsetting than anything in the original, establishes immediately that Schwark has no interest in restraint. The setting works brilliantly, moving the primary action away from the beach and out onto open water, with a group of teenage sailors strips away every safety net, every resource, every possibility of easy rescue. These kids are on small boats miles from shore, with a creature beneath them that is actively, methodically hunting them. The sequence involving the helicopter is one of the most legitimately tension-filled scenes in 1970s cinema, and that is a decade that produced some extraordinary tension. Roy Scheider, as Chief Brody, is also doing genuinely excellent work here, carrying a weariness and a haunted quality that only a man who has been through this before can bring to a role. A man who killed one great white and cannot convince a single person in authority that it is happening again. That specific helplessness of being right, of knowing exactly what is coming and being completely ignored, adds a layer of dread that purely monster-focused horror rarely achieves. Jaws 2 is deeply underrated, consistently overlooked, and absolutely terrifying.
And now, number 2, Deep Blue Sea, released in 1999. It's a very, very, very great movie. Number 2, it's full of suspense, a real plot, special effects, sentiments, suspense, and an incredible cast. Saffron Burrows, Thomas Jane, LL Cool J, Samuel Jackson, Stellan Skarsgård. Absolutely my number 2.
Deep Blue Sea, 1999. The film that asked a question the genre had not previously considered. What if the sharks were smarter than the scientists trying to study them? And answered it with such gleeful conviction that the result became one of the most rewatchable entries in the entire category. A marine research facility in the middle of the ocean has been conducting experiments on mako sharks, using their brain tissue to develop a treatment for Alzheimer's disease, a process that, as a side effect, has dramatically increased the shark's cognitive capacity. The sharks, it turns out, have been paying attention. Thomas Jane, LL Cool J, and Saffron Burrows lead a cast of characters who function in the film's merciless logic, primarily as a counting mechanism, navigating an increasingly flooded facility against opponents who have been planning this longer than anyone admitted. Harlan directs with a propulsive efficiency that strips the film to its essential mechanics. Establish a character, establish the threat, deliver the consequence, proceed. The film's most celebrated sequence, in which it disposes of what appears to be its protagonist at the 40-minute mark, remains one of the great tonal sucker punches in genre cinema.
Yeah.
C. If you're looking for a shark movie that's packed with action, explosions, and a whole lot of fun, then Deep Blue Sea from 1999 is worth watching. This film, directed by Rennie Harlin, is all about genetically engineered sharks that are super smart and very dangerous. The movie takes place in a secret underwater research facility. A team of scientists is trying to find a cure for Alzheimer's disease by experimenting on mako sharks. They make these sharks smarter, but they accidentally make them a bit too intelligent. The sharks begin to turn on their creators, leading to a deadly game of cat and mouse where the humans are fighting for their lives against these cunningly intelligent creatures. Deep Blue Sea has an incredibly deep cast. You've got Thomas Jane, LL Cool J, Saffron Burrows, Stellan Skarsgård, and of course, Sam Jackson, all trying to survive. Director Rennie Harlin, who also directed action movies like Cliffhanger and Die Hard 2, really wanted to make the ultimate shark blockbuster. And to show how over the top they were going, consider this. The shark in Jaws was 25 feet long. Harlan made sure that his sharks in Deep Blue Sea were 26 feet long. This little detail perfectly shows that they were going for it and aiming for bigger, louder, and more extreme. The special effects team, headed by Walt Conti, said that they spent 8 months on the animatronic shark. The underwater setting makes everything feel very closed in and adds to the feeling of lurking danger all around. Rennie Harlin does an excellent job of keeping the tension cranked up, adding an intensity to the fights between the humans and the powerful sharks. Keep in mind that 14 different visual effects houses worked on this film.
And number 1 is always Jaws, released in 1975 by Steven Spielberg. This is still the greatest movie one of the greatest movies of all time, and the best, the number 1 in sharks genre. Jaws, number 1.
Of course.
1975. There is no serious argument to be made for placing any other film at the top of this list. Not because Jaws is beyond criticism, which it is not, but because it invented the genre, set its standard, and has never been matched within it. And a ranking that placed anything else at number 1 would be making a contrarian argument rather than an honest assessment.
Shark movies, there's one film that always comes to mind first. Jaws. Considered to be one of the best movies ever made, Jaws, directed by Steven Spielberg in 1975, truly invented the summer blockbuster and marked the beginning of a new era with a modernized touch to animal horror. Jaws, based on the book of the same title by Peter Benchley, who himself has a cameo in the film, takes place in a busy beach town called Amity Island, right around the 4th of July. A massive great white shark named Bruce, after Spielberg's lawyer, starts attacking people who are swimming in the ocean. The mayor of Amity Island isn't too keen on closing the beaches because he wants to keep the tourist money coming in. This sets up a major conflict between the people who want to protect lives and the government that cares more about money. It's also about humans against nature and how frightening nature can be. But what is it that makes Jaws so special? Well, for starters, there's that iconic music. The two famous yet simple notes, E and F, getting faster and louder, almost making your heart pound. That's John Williams' amazing score, and it's become instantly recognizable. Initially, Spielberg perceived it as a tune that sounded way too simple until he heard the score with the film clips, which actually changed his mind about it. And for the visuals, Spielberg also made a smart choice by not showing the shark very much at the beginning. This was mainly due to a constant malfunction in the mechanical shark during production, but this accidentally made the unseen, or rather lesser seen threat even scarier. The actors in this film are also fantastic. Roy Scheider plays Police Chief Brody, a man who desperately wants to keep his town safe. Richard Dreyfuss is a smart marine biologist named Matt Hooper. And then there's Robert Shaw as Quint, a rough and tough shark hunter. Quint even has a truly moving story he tells about a real-life event, the sinking of the USS Indianapolis, which is truly chilling. But Jaws' influence was so far and wide that it had an effect in various different areas and aspects, along with reinventing what a blockbuster is capable of and also amplifying that genre's filmmaking. It was apparently accused of being responsible for creating shark panic and shark phobia. As a result, it led to an increase in shark hunting. Spielberg himself lamented over lowering the reputation of sharks, but the film is also credited with generating awareness for sharks in general. The success of Jaws wasn't just about entertainment value, it was also the fact that it made people think differently about sharks and ocean life for decades to come. Even today, Jaws still pulls you in, with its simple plot, which is nothing but a story of a man against beast, along with its incredible script and famous lines like, "You're gonna need a bigger boat," which was in itself improvised. It was the first movie in history to earn over $100 million, and also won 3 well-deserved Academy Awards for its editing, music, and sound.
And now we are at the most horrific, bloody, disturbing death scenes in shark movies. I start with the first death in Jaws, the death of Chrissy.
It's on film, yet one where we never even see a shark. Steven Spielberg's Jaws has scared generations of filmgoers for years. One of the many reasons why is the opening scene of the movie. A young woman has swum out into the ocean at night after enjoying a beach campfire. The water is peaceful and the buoy dings in the distance. We get a peaceful, easy feeling, but it doesn't last long. The young woman is suddenly taken underwater 3 times and begins to freak out, realizing the terror she is in. The shark drags her back and forth in the water. We hear these horrible sounds of absolute terror bursting out of her mouth. The attack lasts 45 seconds. And Spielberg, that crafty mofo, even teases us that the young woman might escape when she is dragged to the buoy and the shark attack stops. The respite only lasts a couple of seconds before the shark returns and takes her underwater to her death. The water is calm again, and we are left with a terror that will carry us through the rest of the movie.
And now, 2 unexpected deaths in the shallows.
Blake Lively plays Nancy, a young woman who has come to terms with the death of her mother and visits a remote beach in Mexico. After a long day of surfing with 2 locals, one with a GoPro on his head, Nancy decides to wade out into the water one more time and notices a humpback whale carcass. As she swims towards it, a shark suddenly attacks her, biting her leg and shattering her surfboard. She eventually swims to safety on a rock formation, patches up her leg, and spends the night there. The next morning, the 2 local surfers return and begin to wade out to her. Nancy yells at them to go back, but they do not listen. Suddenly, one of the surfers is attacked by a shark and eaten amidst his screams. The other local surfer feverishly swims towards Nancy. He eventually disappears under the water, and we think the shark has claimed him. But he pops up moments later, screaming in Spanish for Nancy to help him get onto the rocks. We see the terror in Nancy's face through the surfer's GoPro as she desperately tries to save him. The shark ferociously takes him underwater, and Nancy is left with a nice pool of blood bubbling up to the surface. Nancy.
We are in Deep Blue Sea, 1999. I watched this movie at the cinema, and when the character of Samuel Jackson died, I was absolutely shocked.
Corporate executive who's been sent to the facility to figure out what's gone wrong with these experiments. The sharks, who are now super intelligent, eventually break out and terrorize the scientists and Sam Jackson. Sam steps forward to try to rally the troops and deliver what could have been the greatest film monologue ever. Unfortunately, he never finishes it, as one of the motherfucking sharks suddenly jumps out of the water, grabs Jackson in its jaws, and drags him to his death. It's one of the most shocking shark movies, the death of Robert Shaw's Quint in Jaws. Quint is one of the last remaining survivors of the USS Indianapolis, a ship that was torpedoed by a Japanese sub in World War II. 1,100 men went into the water, were attacked by sharks, and only 316 men survived. Quint has spent the rest of his life hunting sharks as a revenge. He, Chief Brody, and Hooper are chasing a 25-foot shark that was terrorizing Amity. After thinking they might finally be getting the better of the shark, it attacks Hooper's shark cage and then quickly launches itself, almost full-bodied, onto Quint's slowly sinking boat. This causes the boat to become a ramp, essentially, and Quint starts to slide down it. He desperately tries to hold onto a shelf, but an air tank of Hooper's rolls over his hand, forcing him to let go. He tries to grab onto Brody's hand, but slips through and slides down to the shark. He furiously kicks at the shark's snout, trying to avoid its mouth, but to no avail. The shark sinks its teeth into Quint's body and squeezes the life and blood out of him amidst his squeals and futile knife stabs. He is slowly dragged into the water to join his fallen comrades from the USS Indianapolis.
We are always in Jaws, and this is a very disturbing death. The death of the little Alex. Even if I make you watch the restored version, if you want to watch the what in this scene has been deleted, I suggest you my documentary made 2-3 years ago, always here on my YouTube channel, My Paranormal and Mystery TV. Jaws deleted scenes and curiosities and much more. A go! Always in Jaws, the gory death of the guy on the boat. And now we are in Jaws 2. Always in Jaws 2.
Terry? Terry?
Here we are in Jaws the Revenge, the gory death of Sean Brody. Jaws the Revenge, the gory death of the young woman on the banana boat. And now, the last part of the documentary. Do you want to know which the real sharks are the most dangerous ones? Let's start. Mako shark.
The short-fin mako shark is the fastest species of shark. Its recorded speed reached 40 kilometers per hour, 25 miles per hour, with bursts of up to 74 kilometers per hour, 46 miles per hour.
This shark
are able to leap about 9 meters, 30 feet, or higher into the air. The short-fin mako inhabits temperate and tropical seas worldwide. It is often found in the Gulf Stream or other warm oceanic waters. This marine species can be found from the surface down to a depth of 150 meters, 490 feet, usually far from land, though occasionally closer to coasts, islands, or bays. Its diet mainly consists of cephalopods and bony fish, including mackerel, tuna, and swordfish, but it can also eat other sharks, porpoises, sea turtles, and seabirds. They consume about 3% of their body weight each day, and digestion of an average meal takes about 1.5 to 2.0 days.
And now the oceanic white-tip shark.
The oceanic white-tip shark is usually found at depths of around 180 meters, but it can also be seen around slopes and coral reefs. They may appear alone or in groups, slowly swimming near the surface, and sometimes with other species of sharks. They move slowly, but with agility. During the day, they are often observed near the surface or just below it. When seen from below, their large pectoral fins resemble airplane wings. Their diet is diverse, feeding on fish, sea turtles, marine mammals like sea lions, and even birds. The oceanic white-tip is not known for highly aggressive behavior, but there have been a few recorded cases of attacks on humans. One such case involved professional diver Brett Gilliam, who, along with 2 colleagues, was attacked at a depth of 60 meters in St. Croix during a decompression stop. 2 white-tip sharks attacked them, killing 1 diver and injuring Gilliam. A report from the Oceanographic Research Center in Durban, South Africa, states that the oceanic white-tip shark was responsible for the deaths of many passengers of the Nova Scotia ship after it was sunk by Germans during World War II.
And now the most dangerous ones, the top 3. The sand tiger shark, number 3.
The sand tiger shark lives in warm tropical and subtropical seas, often near the coast and close to the surface. It is an extremely fierce predator, a killing machine capable of swallowing anything from trash to dolphins. With strong teeth, it can bite through even turtle shells, with a bite force of 60 kilograms. Like most sharks, it continuously replaces its teeth. It feeds on fish, smaller sharks, birds, crustaceans, dead animals, and virtually anything in its path, even garbage from boats. For this reason, it is nicknamed the garbage can. Items found in its stomach include car tires, cans, shoes, and even gasoline barrels.
Number 2, bull shark.
The bull shark is one of the most well-known large marine fish. It has a strong, heavy body and can swim at speeds of up to 40 kilometers per hour. Its natural habitat is tropical and subtropical coastal waters around the world, usually in shallow areas less than 30 meters deep. It can enter bays, river mouths, lakes, and harbors, and it is able to survive in freshwater for long periods. Bull sharks have been found thousands of miles inland, such as 3,700 kilometers up the Amazon River in Peru and over 3,000 kilometers up the Mississippi River in Illinois. They were once thought to inhabit Lake Nicaragua in Central America, but research proved they reach it via river systems. Their aggressive behavior is what gave them the name bull shark. They are considered one of the most dangerous sharks to humans, along with tiger sharks and great whites. They are responsible for 104 recorded attacks on humans in the past 150 years, 33 of them fatal. Their danger lies in their tendency to inhabit shallow waters where humans are most present. They use a bump and bite technique, striking their prey before biting. They may even eat dolphins, crustaceans, turtles, birds, and smaller sharks, including other bull sharks. Although relatively calm at times, they can suddenly turn violent, just like bulls.
And number 1, it's always the great white shark.
White shark. Out of more than 100 shark attacks worldwide each year, about half are attributed to the great white shark. It is the largest predatory fish on Earth and an icon of the oceans. While there are over 500 shark species, only the great white has gained such fearsome fame. As apex predators, great whites play a vital role at the top of the marine food chain, feeding on a wide range of prey, from small fish like halibut to large seals and dolphins. With 300 sharp, serrated teeth arranged in rows, they tear prey into mouth-sized chunks to swallow whole. Unlike most cold-blooded fish, great whites have a unique circulatory system that retains heat from muscle activity, distributing it throughout the body to warm critical organs. This adaptation, called regional endothermy, allows them to remain active in colder waters compared to most other sharks. They also have an extraordinary sense of smell and special organs that detect the tiny electromagnetic fields generated by living creatures. Despite their fame, much remains unknown about their biology and behavior.
So, thanks for watching, and be careful when you swim in dangerous waters. See you soon. Stay tuned.